Hey, what's going on, peeps? What it do? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. Yes, the Cowboys finished yesterday their voluntary OTAs, and we are looking forward to June 12th for the mandatory OTA practices. And yes, the whole team has to be there, even Zach Martin. Now, Zach Martin may not, because of his contract dispute or whatever the case may be, with him trying to get paid, he may not. He may not join in on the team activities, but he will definitely be there because he has to be there. Technically, he's still under contract, so whether they give him this new contract this year or not, he still has to be there. So, with that being said, um, he'll probably work out with a strength coach or whatever because, like right now, they're not rushing a lot of these um, big name guys in any way. They want the young guys to get their shine because again, that's what this whole training camp is for, and preseason and everything like that, to get these young guys up and see who can make the team. Zach Martin, we know he's going to be on the team. We know what he can do. He's a multi-year Pro Bowler, so it is what it is. Zach Martin, he hopefully they get this contract done sooner than later. I know with that aspect of it, they're really trying to figure out what to pay him. Because we know that he's going to be the highest paid offensive lineman in the league. But the problem is, they wanted to be cap friendly on one end, but also give him his just due, give him the money that he deserves. So, you got to find the thin line between that. Now, June 12th. Yes, we're not in pads yet. I understand that. But it has been a lot of promise with this team, and a lot of the newcomers on this team have showed some grit. And what I'm looking for right now, more than anything, is the spirit, the attitude, the tenacity, the effort. That's what I'm looking for right now. You look at a guy like Michael Gallup, like he already made a quote, something like, people are doubting us already, saying that our wide receiver core is not going to be good, this, that, and the third. But he's looking at it like, hey, we got a bunch of young, scrappy guys. And these are some of the things I've been saying too. Like, everybody's hungry right now. You get a bunch of hungry people together that's ready to work and ready to, they're not making excuses. They're going out there and doing what they need to do on a daily basis to play and win this game. So, I mean, I'm all for that. I'm loving the attitude of these young guys. I'm loving the attitude of Allen Hurns. I'm loving the fact that these wide receivers are out here working with Dak Prescott and Mike White and Cooper Rush, whoever is going to be out there throwing them the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I love the fact that they're already gaining that chemistry and camaraderie. It's awesome just to see that they're out there doing that. Now, we already know, and I've talked about this before, training camp is going to be a dogfight. I mean, it's going to be hard to select somebody on this team who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, because there's a lot of talent to go around. I know some of you be like, oh, there's no permanent spots here and there. Yeah, not really, but you kind of know who, as far as your core players, you know who's going to be here. You know what I mean? Whether they do anything in the off season or not, because they've been here, they're proven guys. Cole Beasley, you could think what you want to about him, but he's always been a crisp route runner. He's always been the guy that's there. But last year when he didn't have a good season, it wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? Like, teams were double teaming him because Dez wasn't consistent. When your number one wide receiver is not consistent, they were able to exploit other areas of our offense and shut us down in that aspect. So I look at it like this: even with Dez gone, you have a group of guys that teams in our division have not seen yet. So we have, I swear, if we use these players right and we do what we need to do and game plan, and because every game is going to be different, we're not going to have a game where like one player is going to have 18 receptions or anything like that. It's going to be more of a mixed bag. You're gonna have it's like trick or treating. You get some candy, you get some candy, you get some candy. The ball's gonna be swung around. Everybody's gonna get a piece of the pot. If you are open, if there's a window there, Dak's gonna throw you the ball, or Dak's gonna hand you the ball. That's just the way it's gonna work. Um, I'm again, I'm staying optimistic right now. I'm looking at what's going on right now. Like I'm not discouraged by the guys that are not playing or practicing because most of them are very minor injuries. The coaching staff is just trying not to get these guys injured right now. They're looking like, okay, well, if you have any type of anything hindering you right now, we're gonna sit you out because there's no point in playing you because one, you're a veteran and you guys pretty much for the most part know what you're going doing. They're trying to play these young guys, the ones that are new to the team, these undrafted players, the guys that haven't been here, that are trying to learn the playbook. They're out there showing what they can do because they're the ones that the coaching staff needs to see. Hey, can you do anything for this team? What can you do for this team? Period. So, and I got my co-host with me, Water, because water is essential and it's important. So, yeah. So, I'm every day like I'm just trying to like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, it's funny because we are so close, but then been so far away from like the football season. I just cannot wait to be able to just sit and watch a game and I just can't wait. I can't wait for September. I can't wait for preseason and I just want to see some real football. I mean, it got to the point where I go back and play my old Madden game just to get a fix. You know what I mean? Like it's gotten to that point right now. But I hope you guys are excited as I am about this upcoming season and what we can do. I'm excited about these new players because, hey, this Cowboys team is going to look totally different than it has in the past. And whether that excites you or not, I mean, that's enough for me. I mean, it don't take much for me. I just try to stay positive, optimistic in everything that I do. So, but you look at it like this: we are a very young team, and I mentioned this in the last video too. We are getting younger. Um, it's not too many other teams right now that are as young as we are right now. With the absence of Tony Romo and Jason Witten and Dez Bryant and all those players that have been on this team for a long time, you look at it like this: like, okay, who's going to step up? Where's the leadership going to come from on this team? Um, you have Hall of Famers that are retired now. Jason Witten, we already know that's first ballot right there. He's definitely going. It just sucks that him and Tony couldn't get that ring. I mean, when you think about it, it's just almost like not saying their career was a waste, but I feel like Jerry and Jason Garrett could have done much better at figuring things out for them earlier in their careers. So, because they kept saying, "Oh, the window is closing, the window is closing," and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, well, the window wouldn't keep closing if you would just literally like make sure that they have a team around them. Because again, there's 11 players on that field, and you cannot win by yourself. There's no way you can do it. I mean, you look at all those 8-8 seasons we had when Tony Romo was here. He was the one creating that. I mean, we would have been 4-12 with the plays that they were playing. You already knew that Tony Romo knew this offense like the back of his hand. He went in there, audible, changed plays. I mean, I know you guys that have been Cowboy fans for a minute. I know you guys understand that, like, when Tony Romo would do that, like, he would confuse the offensive players. The only other people that knew what was going on was the offensive line because they were in sync. But you look at the receivers, and especially Dez, like, he was moving Dez around, like, hey, go over here, I'm changing this. And that's why, if you remember those games, like, the clock would literally go down at like 1 second before he snapped the ball. And people are clinching. It's like, oh my God, snap the ball before we false start. But yeah, what they say, those were the good old days, right? I mean, it's just funny to see how this team changed so much the last decade, the last 5 years. Hell, since the last 3 seasons, I mean, it's been a lot of changes on this team. But let's just hope that with those changes becomes positivity. I look at it like this: is coaching staff that we have. If they do what they need to do this year to get these players where they need to be at, I'm happy for it. I've said this all day, every day. I'm loving the addition of Chris Richard. Um, I've heard people say that, oh, well, why would Seattle get rid of him? I was like, well, you understand that after that whole ordeal went down in the Super Bowl when they lost it, and um, the defense was blaming the offense, and I guess the coach got tired of the locker room getting split, so people had to go. You know what I mean? Like he got rid of people, and Chris Richard was the leader of that defense, and somebody had to go. Now that's great for us because hey, it benefits us because now we got him, and hopefully he can bring some of that tenacity from that defense he had with the Seahawks over here to the Cowboys. You know that would be clutch. Paul Alexander, like I mean, he was the Bengals offensive line coach for 24 years, and he didn't have all that great talent over there. He comes over here, he's salivating over the fact that he has three starting Pro Bowlers on this offensive line. And it's crazy because when you look at it, it's just like he's like not saying he ain't got to do nothing, but like he does because he still got the young guys. He got Connor Williams. He has to catch him up, and just the fact that he has that talent to work with is just awesome. Just to come into an organization like that to already have that. Wide receivers coach Sanjay Lau. His situation is similar. He's been with a lot of teams that had a lot of stuff, and he just became a casualty. You know what I mean? Like sometimes because you're on a bad team and being a position coach doesn't mean that you were a bad position coach. You were just in a bad situation, and he just happened to have a stroke of bad luck. And hopefully, all of that is renewed by him coming to the Dallas Cowboys and being a wide receivers coach. Now, looking at him being a wide receivers coach now, you look at some of the things that he did with the different teams that he had, and when he had Ty Hilton and T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne and all those guys like that, and he's a model for. And like I said, we'll see what happens in the season if that correlates to the field. But I just like the fact that he's got the guys with a positive attitude and basically working on their technique and their route running. Because as a wide receiver, if you don't have technique and you can't run routes, how you gonna get the ball effectively? I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Um, with all this leadership gone on the team now, who's gonna step up? We have. It's funny because we have a lot of young players on this team, but a lot of them have experience with playing games. You look at Dak Prescott. How many young players did you know coming in the league start right away? And I mean, he started in the most unorthodox way, but hey, it happened, and he's learning as he goes. So of course he's gonna get scrutinized, but you guys got to understand that like being a great quarterback doesn't happen overnight. You look at a lot of these quarterbacks when they come into the league, they don't start to 2 to 3, maybe 4 years into their career. So I mean, for him to start right away and have a 13-3 season his first year in the league, I mean, that in my opinion is you know, is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like him and Zeke being a tandem and them growing up and learning together. I mean, I love it. I love it. I do. I really do. And another thing is too, Tony Romo was here that year. You know, he was in his ear on the sideline talking to him, and that helped out a little bit. But oh yeah, Mark Sanchez too. But um, he's got Kellen Moore as his quarterbacks coach, so hopefully he could give him some insight and see some things on that sideline that he's not seeing. And if Scott Linehan gives him his the right to basically have the full range of this team, he'll be fine. Let him grow. Let him do what he needs to do. That's all I'm saying. So you look at a lot of the players on this team. Even I've heard Jeff Swain say that hey, like he's been taking command of this team. He's been in here and he's been basically, and people's been listening to him because when you know what you're talking about and people see results, they're gonna follow you because they're like, okay, I can trust this guy, and they do. They trust Dak. They really do. And I feel like that sky's the limits with this team. It's funny because when the media says all types of crazy stuff about the Cowboys and this and that, I don't even listen to it. I just look at it like this. I said, look, y'all not in that facility. Y'all not that locker room. Hell, neither am I. But I'm a fan of the team. So I look at it like this. I try to see some of the things that they're doing and I think outside of the box because everything is not always what it seems. It's not. It's not. You look at how long we had. I mean, we had a lot of like franchise records being broken on this team in the last decade. It's crazy because you look at for us being such a storied franchise, it's awesome. I mean, you look at guys that played the longest games and stuff like that. You go back to like a player like Bill Bates and stuff like that. That you know, and guys that were like staples for the team, and you know, Mr. Captain America, you know, Roger Staubach, like you know what I mean. Like you just go back and you look at these old players, and all the Hall of Famers that we had from Michael Irvin to Emmitt Smith to you know what I mean. I feel sorry for Everson Walls that he didn't get in. That's crazy because Everson Walls, in my opinion, has been one of the greatest cornerbacks to come out of this franchise, not just this franchise, but the league in itself. I mean, we have a lot of great players, ones that you don't even realize that have done a lot for not just the Cowboys, but just the league in general. You look at a guy like Jason Witten, he has always been that guy that people looked at and was like, he is the model of consistency and the model just guy. I mean, great family man, great with his kids, his charitable donations, his things that he did with Albertsons grocery store in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I mean, he's done so much for the community, and like you look at that, and like, how could you not want to be like that? You know what I mean? But you know, and he has some big shoes to fill. Dalton Schultz has a lot of work to do. So we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, these guys are hungry and they're ready to go. So real quick before I end this video, I just wanted to talk about just some fun facts. Like, now that Jason Witten's not here no more, Tony Romo's not here, who has the longest tenure on this team? Who's been here the longest? Like, you look at like all these young players, who has been here? I'm gonna do like 10 players right now that's like, some of them you already know, obviously, and some of them you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't even realize that. So Jeff Heath played 77 games for the Cowboys so far, and you can say what you want about Jeff Heath, and I've heard people say, oh, Jeff Heath sucks and this and that, and I'm like, did you not see what he did in that Raiders game when he ran across the field to hit Derek Carr to knock the ball out of his hand so he can fumble into the end zone for a touchback, and we ultimately won that game. And if we would have kept going, I mean, that got us into the playoffs. I mean, that got us in the position to go to the playoffs, even though we didn't go to the playoffs. It got us in position to go. If we would have won one more game, I think that Falcons game is the one that you look back on and be like, damn, if we would have won that, we definitely would have had a playoff spot. But because of the Eagles were so good last year, it's like they kind of pushed the dynamic forward. It was almost like you had to do more with less to get to that point. So I mean, that was that. Tyrone Crawford also 77 games. Now a lot of you guys are like, Tyrone Crawford, what has he done? I feel sorry for him a little bit because of the simple fact that like they gave him money prematurely, and you know, you're judged on how much money you make. Perfect example, look at Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr, in my opinion, was a good cornerback. We just didn't use him to his strengths. We kept making him play zone, but he was definitely a press man cornerback. $50 million, I mean, that was the market for free agency. No, he did not earn that money, but not many people do, because that's a lot of money to give a player for that period of time that he was with the team. And look, he went to the Ravens and they knew what to do with him, and what he had, like, I think 3 interceptions that first season. So I'm just saying, Tyrone Crawford, whether he continues to be on the team or not, I don't know, but the Cowboys do like him because he is one of the elder guys in this team, and I think he's only like 27, 28. It's crazy. Like, I mean, he's one of the leaders on this team right now, and that's crazy. So we'll see what happens if they keep him or not. I mean, we have a lot of competition at the D-line position, so we'll see what happens with that. I just look at it like, hey, it's gonna be a battle. It is gonna be a battle. Terrence Williams played 80 games for this team. Terrence Williams, you can say what you want about Terrence, but he ain't missed a game, and he's great in run and pass coverage when it comes to blocking. I mean, that's his skill set. That's what he does. Yeah, he's a body catcher, but as long as you catch the damn ball, that's all I care about. Just catch it. Travis Frederick also played 80 games. They came out in the same draft. They both were a model of consistency when it came to playing games. They haven't missed. And like I said, Travis Frederick is a 5-time Pro Bowler, so it is what it is. I mean, you stuff did come out in these last 5 to 7 years in our draft. A lot of our core has come from these drafts, and like you look at it and you look at how they were back then and how we were scrutinized for picking them where they did, and look at them now, they still on the team. It's funny because you have other teams where they had players that were projected higher than these guys that we had, and they ain't even in the NFL no more. So it is what it is. Chris Jones. Now, it's funny because he played 86 games, but most teams don't keep punters that long. They don't. They don't. Most teams don't keep punters. But again, he's been so good for us that like, why get rid of him? And I look at it like this: Chris Jones does more than just punts. Not only is he good at pinning a team within that 10-yard line, but he also can tackle. You seen how I forgot who he hit like that, but he hit somebody hard as hell. I mean, I thought it was one of the linebackers. I thought it was Jeff Heath at first because it was so fast. But when I saw it in the game, I was like, damn, was that Chris Jones hitting him like that on special teams? Like, yeah, Chris Jones came in, he tackles, and he when we want to do fake kicks and stuff, and he run the ball. I mean, he's been doing that. I feel like he's like a punter / gadget player. So, long as he keep doing that, he gonna be on this team for even longer time. So congratulations to him. 86 games. I mean, our special teams guys, our core, we've been very good at having that. So I've always been happy with that. Sean Lee. Also 86 games. It would be more if he wouldn't got injured so much. I mean, I feel like this dude has such the craziest bad luck ever. But I mean, no doubt, when he's healthy, he is definitely one of the best linebackers in this league. He is. And I just feel like hopefully this year with Leighton Vander Esch on this team, I hope that will help him stay healthy. And I see that right now they're not playing him as much in the offseason because they're like, we don't need you to play. Here's a clipboard. Stand on the side and help coach these players because we don't need you until the season starts. Because he goes 110% every time. I love it, but you can't do that all the time. You gotta preserve your body, especially when you get older, because at the end of the day, it's not gonna be good. Cole Beasley, 87 games. Now, Cole Beasley has always he developed into a really good wide receiver. Like, we didn't know him being undrafted coming out of SMU. We didn't know what to think of Cole Beasley back in 2012. If you remember that training camp back in 2012, that was when he left the team and he came back 2 days later, and Jason Witten was yelling like, hey, if he wants to leave, we don't need him. And I guess when he heard that in that interview, sitting at home, talking to his family, trying to figure out what he was going to do with his future, he thought about it. He's like, you know what? I'm being really stupid right now. This is an opportunity right now that most people don't get, and I'm not about to squander it. So he was smart enough. He came back to the team, and the team accepted him. And since then, he's still been on this team. He's still been consistent. Again, I don't blame last year on him because there was a lot of other factors that happened that was the reason why he didn't be successful. But I think that if we continue to use him better, use some rub routes, just move him around and do some things, I think that he would definitely be good this season. Tyron Smith, another guy that's like I mentioned earlier in the video about his back and things of that nature. Um, he's looking good right now. 105 games. That's not bad for your boy. And I think he's, what, 27, 28. He's still young, too. And I mean, because he was like he came out at like, I think 19, we got him, 19, 20 years old. He was one of the youngest players in the league when he first came out. So it feels like he's been on this team forever. He has, but not really. You know what I'm saying? It's weird because he's still young. But to be a 5-time Pro Bowler, I mean, Jesus, like, I mean, it's crazy. Now, if he keeps going the way he's going, he could definitely rival Larry Allen for one of the best linemen in franchise history. If he keeps going like this, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, I've always been high on the big boy. I mean, he definitely. Let's just see if he stays, healthy this whole season. But again, with those backs are real iffy. Once you hurt your back, it's ooh. And like I said, with the surgery, he's been okay. But again, ain't no contact right now. When we start hitting, then that's gonna be the thing that lets you know how he really is. Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey, his career was shaky at first, when he first got here. But I mean, ever since then, playing 108 games for this team, and the last 7 years, he definitely has been a model of consistency. I think we've been spoiled with Dan Bailey because you look at it like this. We already knew, like, how many times have you watched a game and we scored a touchdown and you just walk away because you already know that the extra point's going to be good. You're not even thinking about Dan Bailey because you know that he's gonna go right through the uprights. Now, when he hurt his hamstring last season, it was a little crazy because people were like, well, what's going on with him? I think they rushed him back. They could have, to me, I feel like they could have just shelved him and they should have had Mike Nugent play the whole season because, I mean, he was kicking pretty good. I mean, I put Mike Nugent on my fantasy when Dan Bailey was injured because I had to replace him for Dan Bailey. So in my fantasy last year. So, I mean, he still got me points last year. So I feel like, don't rush your players back. Let them get fully healthy first. And I think that this year, with the offseason and everything, he'll be fine. So I'm not really worried about it right now. Now, unless he does that crap again this year, then we have to figure something out. But right now, I think we're good. I think we're good. So drum roll for the most consistent, the longest tenured player on this team. Now that Jason Witten is not here, your boy LP Ladouceur. Yeah, the long snapper. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, he's a long snapper. Of course, his career is going to be long because he don't do nothing outside of snapping the ball. Okay, I get all that. But what I will say is what's great about him is the simple fact that how we got him. We were looking for a long snapper in training camp one year, and he was just there, and they called him up because he was in the area, and they was like, yo, come on and try out. Made the team and never left. 13 seasons, 205 games with the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, outside of Jason Witten, I mean, he's definitely one of two players in franchise history to ever play more than 200 games. And perfect snaps. You don't notice LP Ladouceur, and that's a great thing because you don't want to notice a bad snap. Model of consistency. I mean, if they wanted to, if he keeps doing this, they could play him into his 50s for real. I mean, because as long as he don't get hit, he good. But yeah, that's just what I had with that. But just a little fun with you guys today. Just looking forward to the 12th, seeing mandatory mini camps and training camp when they start putting the pads and everything on, and I want to see somebody get knocked out. No, I don't want to see nobody get knocked out, but yeah, I just want to see some progress. And like I said, we're already seeing it right now, and I understand that they're in shorts and t-shirts, but they're still out there doing drills, and you can still see the talent even with that. So I mean, that's something to start. That's a base. So with that being said, y'all, hey, thanks again, y'all, for my subscribers. I appreciate it. I love y'all. This your boy E2 Blue. You already know. Always keeping it real. Until next time, y'all.